Hey guys, Arpim here. Hope you're doing well, having a really great day. This video wanted to just talk with you all regarding like all these solo Bitcoin miners that have been hitting the market over the past like couple years. I guess ever since I reviewed the Avalon Nano 3, this is an Avalon Nano 3S, it's exploded. And a lot of people, and I guess companies as well, have been coming out of the woodworks creating other solo mining Bitcoin miners, okay, like Luckyminer. And of course, there's been a lot of newer Bitaxe models that have been coming out, which I think the open source community really love these types of these Bitaxe models, like the Bitaxe Gamma, for instance. And I know notably there's a new Nerd QX++ that has come out, and a lot of people seem to like those. But it has come to my attention that Luckyminer has been doing something illegal, and a lot of people really don't like these Luckyminers. So I want to talk to you guys about that today, as well as just talk about, are any of us who has these types of miners, these solo Bitcoin miners, actually going to get a Bitcoin block? And I just wanted to show you, CKpool.org, how many blocks they have found over the past 11 to 12 years, just to put it into perspective. Okay, so let me start off with that first, and then we'll talk about the issue with Luckyminer. Okay, so I want to find out how many, solo blocks have been actually found on, like, let's say CKpool.org. That's one of the most popular, solo mining, Bitcoin mining pools that a lot of people use. Alternatively, a lot of people that can do it, they set up their own Bitcoin node and their own Bitcoin stratum to solo mine Bitcoin themselves locally at home. You guys know me, recently I just picked up a FutureBit Apollo 2, and that has, it's basically a self-enclosed Bitcoin node with a Bitcoin stratum in it as well. I've done many videos on that, and I really love it. I'm basically solo mining a few of my these types of smaller miners to my own local node at home, which is really cool, but it was a really expensive unit. Obviously, I highly recommend anyone that's going to do that to, try to make their own at home. You can just get any computer and try to install Umbrel or manually install the Bitcoin node yourself. Anyways, I was just looking at CKpool.org, and I went to a website called mempool.space just to see how many solo blocks were actually found by CKpool.org. And I went there, and since the inception of CKpool.org, they have found, as of recording, I think 287 Bitcoin blocks, just under 300 blocks over the past 11 to 12 years. So I divided that number by the current block height right now of, essentially how many, Bitcoin blocks have been found since the inception of the Bitcoin network. And so that number is like 99.97% of the blocks that have been found on CKpool.org versus the inception of the Bitcoin network. So that doesn't include like solo blocks for people that have their own node, but it just put in perspective for me that, the chances of one of us, for anyone that has these miners, it's an extremely low chance that one of these, let's say Avalon Nano 3S's, is going to find a Bitcoin block in our lifetime. So for anyone that's going to be buying these types of miners, just understand that it's a lottery play, okay? And I know a lot of people compare it to like, buying a lotto ticket. It's like potentially winning a lottery every 10 minutes, which is the block times for Bitcoin. So it's like playing the lottery, and you're essentially gambling to hit a block, which is essentially all about luck. Okay, so just understand the money that you're spending on these. Be sure it's money that you really don't care about, or it's expendable cash, or you're looking at it at a fundamental way of, just participating in the network, decentralizing the hash rate. Anyways, I just wanted to start off with that. Okay, let's get into the issue with Luckyminer. Quick pause. I want to announce just a little giveaway here of a Bitaxe Gamma 1.2 terahash model at around 20 to 25 watts from PlebSource.com. Just comment down below your guys' thoughts about this video that you watched today, anything regarding that I talked about, and I'll choose the winner in about 24 hours after this video is uploaded, and you just have to email me if I responded to your comment if you won, and I need all your shipping details. So good luck, get your guys' comments down below for a Bitaxe Gamma. Back to the video. Okay, so there was a post by Christian Sepsar, sorry if I butchered your name. This is on X, and so he says, this illegal Bitaxe clone is quietly dominating Asia. Today I had a lunch with a guy behind it. He's a young Bitcoin entrepreneur from Shenzhen, China. Quiet, humble, but running a serious operation, large-scale self-mining, hosting, and full-scale manufacturing of mining hardware and spare parts. He's been in the space since 2017. Genuinely, he believes in Bitcoin's mission. Luckyminer started as a hobby in late 2023. He said he wanted to help more people get into mining, not really to make a profit. In early 2024, the demand exploded. Hence Canon coming out with the Avalon Nano 3 a year and a bit ago. Okay, this really exploded. Thousands sold. breaking the license. Bitaxe is an open source under CERN OHL S 2.0, which means any modifications must be published. So why do it? I asked him directly. He didn't get angry or defensive. He said, 1. Retail customers in Asia don't care about open source. The Bitaxe brand isn't suited for the local market. 2. His team is juggling too many projects. Releasing modifications is low priority. Their time is too valuable. Not great reasons, but they felt honest. Legit Bitaxes. They now manufacture open source Bitaxes too, but only for B2B clients, fully licensed, compliant. Luckyminers are sold direct to retail customers. Copying brains. They copied us too. They admitted it to my face. But that's a story for next time. Follow me so you don't miss it. What's next? As sales kept growing, they added a Litecoin version earlier this year, which I do have right here. I'm gonna make a video just setting it up and seeing how it goes. And they plan on expanding with more form factors and higher production volumes. But he says chip availability is the biggest bottleneck. Chips are the problem everywhere. Or rather, not having chips available for purchase is the story here for me. Hope we find a solution. Anyways, I don't support his decisions, but I have to admit he's a really nice guy. Bitcoiner at heart, I appreciated his honest answer and perspective on the Asian market. Now that you know the story behind the most controversial mini miner on the market, curious to hear your thoughts. So, all these Luckyminers, the LV08, LV07, LV06, LG07, the script one, the LV04, and the LV02 or 3, I believe. I guess essentially the operating system, which is the AXOS, Bitaxe operating system, has essentially been copied by Luckyminer, and they made it like closed source. It's not online anywhere. I couldn't find any support website to like download like a firmware update or anything with these. Granted, there is a community out there. I've been researching on Reddit and forums out there. People have actually flashed the Bitaxe firmware onto these Luckyminers. Now, I'm gonna figure that out and do another video on that in the future once I have that figured out. There's actually a Discord I'm in that just talks about flashing these, LV07s and LV08s with the Bitaxe firmware, so I think that's pretty cool. I'll get into that in another video. But yeah, how Avalon Nano 3, okay, even they're using the Brains operating system, which is open source, okay? You can download it. It is published, and so a lot of these Avalon Nano 3s and 3Ss, they have the Brains operating system, which is great, right? It's open source. And so similar with the Bitaxe, right? Bitaxe Gammas, this is all open source, and there's always continual updates. If you go to the GitHub, you can actually see the Bitaxe OS. There is firmware updates continually, and the open source community is always making this better. So I think that's where the true heart lies with fundamentally with mining Bitcoin or solo mining Bitcoin, that is, with these Bitaxes and the open source community. So this China-made product is going against the open source ethos, but there has been now a community that has been reflashing these. So yeah, I'll open these up and in another video, and we'll see how we can do that. But yeah, I just want to make this video just expressing what I've learned regarding the Luckyminers, and hopefully that has brought to your guys' attention regarding this issue. And more so, if you are getting into solo mining Bitcoin, then the support should really go to these Bitaxe miners, or even the Avalon Nano 3s, 3Ss, which these are really good, really cool, also cost effective as well. I found the prices of these Luckyminers, if you factor in the software support, which there is basically none, or even support for these, even if they break. I have a broken LV08, I couldn't find any support online for it. That's why these are so popular. And also the companies that you buy these from, let's say plebsource.com, they're located in Texas, and if you had any issues with your Bitaxes, for anyone that's in North America, that is, you have support there, which is great. But to get like a return or support on your Luckyminer, good luck, good luck. But please do your own research when it comes to these things, and if you're looking to purchase these things, I have a bunch of links down below. They're all affiliated if you are looking to purchase these types of things. But please do your own research and stay tuned. I have a bunch more videos coming out just testing these things. I really want to test out the Doge script one. That's going to be one of the first ones, I think, onto the market. I mean, my first opinion of it is I'd rather just buy like a mini Doge 3 probably for the same price, I think, or like a used mini Doge. You get a lot more hash rate, but of course it uses more power. So actually good segue into talking about comparing, like, a lot of these Bitcoin solo miners, right? A lot of people like these for mining them at home because, one, they're quiet, okay? Anyone can participate, right? Anyone can just put this in their bedroom or office, and it's just like a nice little desk centerpiece or showpiece for their kitchen or living room. But the biggest thing is cost, right? These things cost sometimes as much as a big boy ASIC miner, and not like the new ones that are like $4,000 or $5,000. I'm talking about like S19J Pros or S19s that, you know, are a couple years old already, but they provide like 15 to 20 times more hash rate. Let's say I'm comparing one of these Avalon Nano 3 S's. This does 6 terahash at about 140 watts. But I've seen prices of these range from like $300 to, you know, $400 for one of these things. And right now, if you look on eBay for like an S19 or S19J Pro 104 terahash model, they're like between, I don't know, $400 to $500-600. Granted, you can run those on LPM mode, so you'll get a little bit more efficiency down to like, you know, 23, 25 joules per terahash. I know these Avalon Nano 3S's are a tad better efficiency-wise, but herein lies the biggest difference as to why people buy these versus big boy ASICs. Sound warning, lower your volume in 3, 2, 1. Most people aren't going to be running these in their bedroom or kitchen, you know, a big boy like 3,000 watt miner. It's loud and you can't run this on 120 volt like those small miners, right? Obviously you're going to need like, you know, 240 volt circuitry, and yeah, so you guys get the comparison there, right? Just depends on the type of miner you are, what type of environment you have. Do you have the infrastructure? You know, I know a lot of medium scale, large scale, or even like Bitcoin OGs, you know, they obviously understand this concept as to why, you know, versus somebody who would buy a little desk piece that's quiet and maybe more efficient versus buying something that's a little bit older, a little bit more inefficient, but it uses a lot more power. It's much louder. So depending on your electrical cost as well, I get the comparison, and I hope a lot of you guys do as well. Yeah, all these Bitcoin solo miners that have been coming out over the past, you know, 2 years or so, I'd say, has been quite dominant, and there's been, I'd say, more than hundreds of thousands of people that have been buying these things, okay? So it's quite I definitely think it's a huge market for these things, and manufacturers know that. And for a lot of you guys that are watching that, you know, maybe have these types of miners, obviously want to hit that Bitcoin block, and I get the appeal in getting these things, and that's how a lot of people are getting hooked into buying these things. Like I said in the beginning, right, talking about, you know, CKpool.org finding, you know, about, you know, 0.033% of the Bitcoin blocks, the total Bitcoin blocks since its inception. Out of the, I don't know, I'm gonna guess like 1 million of these devices, I don't know, that are out in the world right now. Think about what are the chances of one of us, you know, people that are watching this video, what are the chances of one of us actually gonna be, you know, hitting a Bitcoin block in our lifetime? It's going to be pretty rare. So personally, I think for a lot of people that have these, including myself, I've been, and actually including others that I've seen, they've been mining other forks of Bitcoin, like, you know, Bitcoin Cash or Digibyte, that have a lot higher chance to find a block, because the network difficulty or the hash rates of those coins are obviously much lower. So your chances to find a block on a chain that has a much lower difficulty, you'll have a higher chance to get a block. Obviously, it's not going to be worth as much as a, you know, a Bitcoin block, let's say, but at least your chances are much higher. So for people that have these, you know, I'm not going to say you're going to be, you know, dead in the water, but at least you have the opportunity and chance to mine, you know, another fork of Bitcoin, other SHA-256 algorithms. But hey, maybe that's just me trying to tell everyone to get off mining, you know, solo mining Bitcoin so that I can lower the network hash rate, and so others that are solo mining will have a higher chance. I'm just kidding. I don't know. I'm just talking out of my head. All right, everyone. Thank you for watching today's video. Please let me know your thoughts again for the Bitaxe giveaway. Comment down below your thoughts about anything that I just talked about. I'll choose the winner for one of these Bitaxe Gammas from plebsource.com. All right, I'll see you on the next video. Have a good one. Peace out. Peace out. Oh, Luckyminer.